So today I want to speak about something a little bit different. I want to speak about this Golden Dome. For those who don't watch the news, like I don't watch the news, but every now and then I'll catch like little tidbits here and there. So I think it was last week, President Trump um, wanted a gold dome or Golden Dome. It's pretty much what it is. It's a missile defense system um, to counteract any kind of possible terrorist acts, such as missiles coming uh, over across our line of defense in America. Um, doing the best I can to try to explain it, um, which actually is a pretty good idea. And usually I don't agree with a lot of what Trump says and does because a lot of it is a little crazy. But um, it's I'm gonna let you guys know that it's not going to get passed, and then I'll give you guys an idea of why it might get passed. So we'll start with the first scenario. One of the main reasons why this bill is probably not going to get passed is I think it's estimated to cost what $891 billion over the next 2 decades. Um, Listen, we're already at a point of no return in this country, meaning that if somebody's plotting to do something, they're going to do it within the next couple of years. Um, and also, here's the thing that people don't know: the U.S. military is prepared. They've been prepared for a very, very long time. And I know when you see, you watch maybe like 60 Minutes and you see, a military colonel or specialist or a senior advisor speak about the possibilities of war and terrorism, nuclear war, and they always give these dumb answers, and they do it intentionally because they're not trying to put out any uh, confidential information out there that our enemies can use against us. So, but what the public doesn't know is that the U.S. military already has and have always had a secret program um, with alien technology. They have um, stuff that will weapons that will level cities in a matter of seconds. So they're prepared. They have been prepared, and they're waiting. They're waiting for some country to make a move, and if it's at the cost of 1,000 or maybe millions of lives, sacrificed here in America, they're itching to use these weapons because they've used it before. They use these weapons that unintentionally use these weapons, and they've created earthquakes in other countries. Um, and this is top secret information that has been leaked from military advisors. So maybe you don't know, but I know that this technology exists. So back to the bill. Whether the bill is going to get passed or not, well, I think it's really up to not only Americans, but the congressmen as well. Do we want to dish out that money? And if it does get passed, military doesn't care either way because half of that money is going to be funneled towards secret programs, secret, weaponized programs to develop more secret technology. So they don't care either way because it's already happening. The bills, a lot of these bills that are passed are over budget anyways, and they're over budget because a lot of that money is being funneled through, um, through these bills and leading to secret government, programs and contracts. So the military is not concerned about an attack. They want it. They're waiting for it to happen. I don't know if you know that statement, "F around and find out." That's what they're waiting for. So U.S. government, for anybody who thinks that they're incompetent, when when they get on, 60 Minutes and speak to a journalist and say this and that and this and that, they're not giving the full, statement of what they are truly capable of. Now, what country is it going to be? Well, we've made enemies pretty much all over the world. Um, and listen, we're not concerned about we're not concerned about the deficit, because that shit is never going to get paid off, and most of it is towards China. China, is our ally, but easily can become our enemy. But listen, they're not going to go at war with us because they don't want it. Because listen, the 90% of the trade that we have going on is with China. Most of the goods that we buy come from China, whether it be through Amazon or Temu or whatever. America doesn't make anything anymore. It's all made in China. And they're not going to, even though we owe them a crap load of money, they're not going to do anything. What are they going to do? Go, start a war with us? They don't want that. They don't want the heat. They know that, listen, America is pretty damn crazy. Um, so I kind of rule them out because they're still our ally. I know, the old saying, keep your friends close and your enemies closer. That's kind of where we stand with China. The second one would be North Korea. I don't really rule them out, but the dictator, I'll not mention his name for the purpose of this video, but the dictator that's involved or in charge right now, the tyrant that he is. Listen, in my opinion, he is crazy, but I don't think he's crazy enough to start a war. Um, I mean, maybe as time goes along, maybe as he gets older, maybe he gets a little crazier. But listen, I think he's very comfortable running a country and living in his wealth. I don't think he's willing to sacrifice that and sacrifice, his country, to start a war with America. I think the most likely candidates is probably some country from the Middle East. There's probably a dozen of them that's capable of um, launching nuclear weapons. Um, Certainly, they've done it in the past as far as with terrorist attacks, because they're proven. So, Iran, I think, is the most likely candidate, because they are in possession of nuclear weapons. They are a nuclear power, and they don't like Israel. And I think that's going to be one of the main factors. I think, if anything, it'll probably be a combination of, countries from the Middle East, like 9/11 was, Um, but the military, um, is prepared. They have this technology. They want somebody to do something. You know what I mean? Even if it's at the cost of, millions of Americans' lives being sacrificed for their ignorance. And their ignorance is what's going to cost us. Um, because there are countries that have technology that can wipe out half of our country before we can even do, before we can even counteract what inevitably is going to happen. So I think the military, for those who think the American military is not ready for what's possibly going to happen, they're ready. They're ready to test out their new technology, and it's stuff that you only see in sci-fi movies. And we are capable of horrible things. And I hope I hope I'm wrong. I hope nothing bad happens, but I know that the U.S. military is very much prepared for a world war.